Hello. So today we're going to be talking about direct object pronouns in Spanish. And as you know, pronouns generally replace nouns, right? But before we even get into direct object pronouns, we need to know what is a direct object, okay? So a direct object refers to the person or thing that receives the action. So this means that the direct object is going to respond to the question of who or what receives the action. So we look at a sentence and we identify the verb and then we ask ourselves who or what is receiving the action. Okay? And that is how we would identify the direct object. So for example, let's look at the sentence be a Tom. So I saw Tom. We look at the verb, which is be. Of course, it's in the preterite. And we ask ourselves the question, who did I... So obviously because the direct object in this case is a person, it will be who did I see? Tom. Right? And you know you have to put the a because that is a grammatical rule in Spanish. Once a person is the direct object, then you need the personal a. So be a Tom, who did I see? Tom, right? So that would be an example of a direct object there, right? And that's an example of a direct object being a person. So if I wanted it to be a thing, I would say be la casa. I saw the house, right? So what did I see? The house, la casa. So if we already know what is being spoken about, then there will be no need for us to constantly mention that particular person or thing. So now we need a way to, well, not need, but it would be nice to, to avoid repetition and to shorten the language to use a direct object pronoun. And of course in English you would replace Tom with him and the house with it. So that's now what we are going to look at because I'm going to show you what are the direct object pronouns in Spanish. So what you see in blue would represent the direct object pronoun in Spanish. What you see in the green would be what the pronoun would replace in Spanish, and the black will represent the English translation of the direct object pronoun, okay? So let's go. Me will replace a mí, and of course me means me. Te would replace a ti, and te means you. Lo would replace a él or usted, and usted in this case of course would refer to you, but the person would have to be a male, okay? Would have to be a male. So and that would replace him, it, or you, right? So the it, of course, would be something that's masculine, right? La would replace a ella or a usted, and of course, usted in this case referring to a you, but a you that is a female, right? And the it would be referring to something that's singular and feminine, okay? Nos would replace a nosotros or a nosotras, and nos would mean us. Os, if this is, of course, this is only used in Spain, would replace a vosotros or a vosotras, and it would mean you all, right? So los, a ellos, would replace a ellos or a ustedes. Ustedes in this case, of course, meaning you all, but it would refer to more than one person that is a male, right? And ellos could actually refer to people or things, right? As long as they are masculine. So that would be them or you all, right? Las would replace a ellas or a ustedes. Again, ustedes referring to you all, and those persons would have to be female, And ellas could refer to them, and them could be people or things, of course, that are feminine, okay? So these are the direct object pronouns in Spanish. Now, I must mention that you cannot use direct object pronouns with prepositions, okay? So if I wanted to say, no, let me put it in English first. If I wanted to say I am with her, I wouldn't say estoy con la, because you know la would be the direct object pronoun that, you know, we would use. That would mean her. We wouldn't do that. I would have to say estoy con ella. I am with her. I can't say estoy con la. So remember, do not use direct object pronouns with prepositions, right? So just remember that. So now we are going to see where the direct object pronoun occurs in a sentence, right? You know, of course, the first thing we need to do is to identify direct object, right? That's the first thing. So the first place it occurs is before the conjugated verb, okay? So Sam tocará el piano. What is our direct object? So we look at the verb. What will Sam play? El piano. So we highlight that, and we have to ask ourselves now, what is this? We have to identify the gender and the number of the direct object so that we would know which direct object pronoun would apply. Okay, so since this is singular and masculine, you know that this would be lo. So the direct object pronoun that will correspond to this would be lo, okay? So it goes before the conjugated verb. So Sam lo tocará. Sam will play it. And if it's a negative, so if we want to make this negative, we would put the direct object pronoun, would still go before the conjugated verb, but the no would go before it, right? So Sam no lo tocará. Sam will not play it, right? So that's just if we want to make it negative. So that's the first place it can occur. The second place the direct object pronoun can occur in a sentence is attached to the infinitive. Of course, once there's an infinitive, right? So, quiero beber el jugo. Once again, we ask ourselves, what is the direct object? So, what do I want to drink? El jugo, the juice. The juice is singular, it's masculine, therefore, the direct object pronoun that corresponds to that would be lo. And because we have an infinitive, we would attach the infinitive to the, because we have an infinitive here, we would attach the direct object pronoun to the infinitive, right? So it would become quiero beberlo. I want to drink it. But I must mention that when there's an infinitive, the direct object pronoun can also go before the conjugated verb, right? So it's perfectly fine to say lo quiero beber. There's nothing wrong with that. So I can say quiero beberlo and lo quiero beber. Same thing. It's just a matter of preference, right? Okay, 3. The third place it can occur is attached to the gerund. So the gerund, of course, would be the continuous form. In English, this would be represented by the ing suffix that would occur, whereas in Spanish, if it's an AR verb, it would be ando, and if it's an ER or IR verb, it would be yendo. So because beber is an ER verb, it would be bebiendo, of course, right? And you would have seen, and you would notice that I use kind of the same example. So, estoy bebiendo el jugo. What am I drinking? El jugo. So that's our direct object. And of course, we already know that the direct object pronoun that corresponds to that would be lo. Okay? But here is where it gets a little not tricky, but here's where you have to pay attention. Estoy bebiéndolo. So we attach the direct object pronoun to the gerund. But when we do that, we must put an accent on the third vowel from the end. So that's just a grammar rule. So when you attach the direct object pronoun to the gerund, you have to put an accent on the third from last vowel. So let's look. So here, the last vowel, it will start from the end. So 1, 2, 3, and then we put an accent on the third vowel from the end. That's just a grammar rule. So it would be estoy bebiéndolo. Okay? I am drinking it. And just like number 2, the direct object pronoun can go before the conjugated verb. And it will be perfectly fine. So I can say lo estoy bebiendo. Same thing. Just a matter of preference. But if you're going to attach the direct object pronoun to the gerund, just remember that you have to put a vowel on you have to put an accent on the third from last vowel. Okay? Third vowel from the end. And the fourth place is attached to affirmative commands. So an affirmative command, of course, would just be to tell someone to do something, right? So mira a Susana. Look at Susana. Who to look at? Susana, right? And Susana would be singular and feminine, so that would obviously, the direct object pronoun that would correspond to that would be la. So you attach the direct object pronoun to the affirmative command, so mírala. And once again, there's a rule you have to pay attention to. If when you attach the direct object pronoun to the affirmative command, the word results in 3 or more syllables, then you have to put an accent on the third vowel from the end. So in this case, 1, 2, 3, accent. Mírala. Right? So just bear that in mind. Once you attach the gerund, once you attach the, it's talking about gerund now. Once you attach the direct object pronoun to the affirmative command, because that's where it goes, right? Once you attach the direct object pronoun to the affirmative command and the word results in 3 or more syllables, then you must put an accent on the third vowel from the end. Okay? Now, if you want to make this negative and say, well, do not look at Susana, it will be no la mires. So the direct object pronoun will go before the conjugated verb. No la mires. Do not look at her. Okay? Alright, so these are direct object pronouns, and we will now proceed to a quiz. Alright, so let's go to the quiz. Now let's read the instructions first. So replace the direct object with the appropriate direct object pronoun. Alright? So first we have to identify the direct object and then replace it with the appropriate direct object pronoun. And of course, the placement is very important, right? So let's go. Quiero conocer a Carolina Miranda, right? And if you don't know who Carolina Miranda is, this is a famous Mexican actress. You can check her out in the series Quien Mató a Sara, right? But quiero conocer a Carolina Miranda. Alright, so we have to first identify our direct object, right? So this means I want to meet Carolina Miranda. Carolina Miranda, right? So who do I want to meet? Carolina Miranda. So this is our direct object, right? So now we have to ask ourselves, which direct object pronoun would this correspond to? It's one woman and it's obviously a female, so that would be la, right? La. Therefore, the replacement would be now that we see that there are actually two possibilities for this, right? You could either say la quiero conocer, right? You could say that. Or you could say, or you could write quiero conocerla. Both of these are correct, right? Remember, when you have an infinitive, you can put the direct object pronoun either before the conjugative verb or attached to the infinitive, right? So this would mean I want to meet her. So these are both correct, right? So I want to meet Carolina Miranda. All right. 2. Escucha a tu profesora. So this is an affirmative command, right? So escucha, listen to who? So a tu profesora. This would be our direct object, right? And profesora is singular and it's feminine, so that will correspond to la. And because this is an affirmative command, remember where they go. Remember where the direct object pronoun goes when you have an affirmative command. They go attached to the affirmative command. So, escucha la. And remember, if it results in 3 or more syllables, then you have to put an accent on the third from last vowel. And escucha la, that's 3 syllables. Therefore, 1, 2, 3. So the U has to carry an accent. Escúchala. So listen to her. Right? So la, listen to your teacher. Right? So listen to your teacher, listen to her. Escúchala. Right? Number 3. Mi madre está mirando la televisión. Right? So, my mother is watching the television. What is she watching? The television. Right? So, once again, you have television is the direct object. It is singular and feminine, so that corresponds to la. Right? But also, you have a gerund here. Right? So remember, with the gerund, there are 2 possibilities, right? So the direct object pronoun can either go before the conjugated verb, which should be here, or it can go attached to the gerund, right? So let's go. So it will be mi madre la está mirando. That is one. That's one possibility. Right? Or you could say, mi madre está mirando la. And remember, when you attach the direct object pronoun to the gerund, you're going to have to put an accent on the third vowel from the end. So 1, 2, 3, mirando la. Right? My mother is watching it. Right? So my mother is watching the television. Right? All right, 4. Ella compró los zapatos. So this means she bought the shoes, and shoes obviously would be what she bought, so that would be the direct object. Los zapatos is plural and it's masculine, so which direct object pronoun would correspond to that? Los. Right? So the answer here would be ella los compró. She bought them. Right? So she bought the shoes. Right? Or you can, yeah, she bought the shoes. Right? 5. No vi a mis amigos ayer. Right? I did not see my friends yesterday. So who did I not see? My friends. So a mis amigos. In this case, the mis amigos, the friends are males, so it would be los, right? So the answer here would be no los vi ayer, right? So I did not see them yesterday, right? And I did not see my friends yesterday. Okay, so that's the end, right? So yes. All right, so I hope that you understand. Yes, espero que lo hayan disfrutado. Gracias por ver y hasta la vista.